Good morning. My name is Morris Mills. I'm the Research and Public Policy Analyst at the Downtown Long Beach Alliance. And today I'm going to be presenting alongside some of our local partners on resource updates that are available to businesses, both in terms of financial assistance, business development assistance, and workforce development. So this is the first installment of this resource update. We will have the same reoccurring the following Tuesday and the 2 Tuesdays after that, in addition to some webinars on Friday that are covering more, broad topics. So let me start and get into it here. So just going over the content briefly, I'll introduce the speakers. I'll let them speak about what they do, their job roles at their respective organizations, and then I'll dive into the resource briefing and update specifically and let them talk about what they can offer. And then we'll go into the audience Q&A. And so with the Q&A, we'll have people, if you have a question, please enter it into the chat function, and I'll read it out to the presenters. So just as a note, I have uploaded a PDF into the chat already. And that contains a lot of useful links for each of these respective organizations they should be mentioning. And if, the speakers might also put links in the chat function as well beyond those. And this webinar is also going to be recorded. And so we can, it'll be posted onto the website. So getting into it. Let's start with Eric Romero. So Eric is one of the project managers at the City of Long Beach Economic Development Department. So his job is pretty wide ranging, but really it's assisting businesses in, accessing whether it's something city related for a permit or accessing funding. So really everything under the sun in terms of small business development. So Eric, if you want to briefly speak about your role.
Definitely. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Morris and the Downtown Long Beach Alliance for organizing this very important webinar. We know there are a lot of challenges right now that small business owners are facing, and we hope that you get information about some resources that you may benefit from. I'd also like to thank the other participants on this webinar, Brad Pollak from the Small Business Development Center and Lucius Martin, who are great folks in the city doing some tremendous work to help small businesses. The team that I am on, the Business Development Bureau in the City of Long Beach, we help people start, sustain, and grow businesses in a variety of different ways. We connect them to resources that exist locally and regionally. We oversee a few loan programs that I'll be talking about shortly. We help people navigate the permitting process, and we oversee a number of special projects that help to revitalize commercial corridors throughout the City of Long Beach. Please count on us as a resource here for you. We're happy to help you answer questions about some resources that are available or some city policies that you may need some more information on. But we're here to serve you, and we're working around the clock to ensure that you're informed and are benefiting from these resources. Thank you.
Great. Okay, moving on. Next, we have Lucius Martin. Lucius works at Pacific Gateway, which is the local workforce development board. And basically, this workforce development board, the concept is investing in the economy through people rather than necessarily through businesses specifically. So this is everything from job training, workforce sharing programs, and basically, developing a better educated, better equipped workforce in Long Beach and the surrounding area. So Lucius, if you want to also speak briefly on your role.
Yeah, again, Morris, Downtown Long Beach Associates, thank you for having me on. I manage a team of folks at the Pacific Gateway Workforce Innovation Network, or board. We are one of 7 regional workforce development boards that serve Los Angeles County. We are administered by the City of Long Beach and are co-located within the Economic Development Department with Mr. Romero and Mr. Jalali, who are also on today. We're kind of unique. We're similar to some other bureaus within the city where we serve not just Long Beach residents and businesses. We also service job seekers, youth, residents, businesses in Signal Hill, And then we have a contract with City of Los Angeles, and we run a workforce development center in San Pedro, excuse me, that serves the harbor area of Los Angeles. And so we also conjointly work with the Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach. And we're just really excited to be here. We have a number of services, which I'll be able, and resources that I'll talk about later. But thanks again for the invitation, Morris and DLBA.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, and then last but not least, moving on to Brad. So Brad is the director at the Small Business Development Center, which is hosted out of Long Beach City College. And the SBDC is really one of the premier organizations in the United States for managerial and technical assistance for all businesses. So they really have a pretty wide range of assistance opportunities. So Brad, if you want to speak about that briefly.
Thanks, Morris. And again, for all you're doing to get this going at the LBA, it's a great thing that you're doing. I'm very happy to be a part of it. As you were saying, I work for the Small Business Development Center. I'm the director of the SBDC in Long Beach, and we are located on the campus of Long Beach City College. There are about 1,000 SBDCs across the country, and we're administered by the SBA, the Small Business Administration. In very simple terms, it's a great service that is focused on doing two things: helping advise businesses that are getting started and helping advise businesses that are growing. And we offer all kinds of advising in terms of the fundamentals of business, everything from business planning to marketing strategizing to operations, logistics, understanding your financials, understanding how to put together the necessary paperwork and documentation if you're applying for a loan, import, export, e-commerce. All of that is what we provide, and it's at no cost to you, the small business owner, because you've actually already paid for it through your taxpayer dollars. And all of the advising is provided by paid experts. So, you know, that's what we do at the Small Business Development Center, offering information, offering guidance, offering education to small businesses. And it's a pleasure to be a part of the conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, so great to hear from all of you guys. So let's go into the presentation itself. Yeah, as I noted here, links in the resources, that PDF has been posted in the group chat, and that contains kind of a one-pager of the links to the websites, as well as some of the specific opportunities that they'll be mentioning today. So let's start with Eric here. What financial resources are currently available to Long Beach businesses? I'll have you share your screen. I understand you have your own presentation here. So.
All right, let me just get this presentation up.
Mm-hmm.
It says I cannot share my screen because you're sharing your screen.
All right.
All right, 1 second. All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to let you know that today I'm going to touch on some of the programs that are available to you, but what we really want you to do is to get a summary of some of these programs today, and then to call us so that we can give you some one-on-one support, so that you can get answers to all of your questions and really understand all of the nuances of these different programs. So to get a hold of us, I encourage you to call the city's new business hotline, which was started in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This hotline operates 5 days a week. In some cases, when there's new information that's released, such as modifications to the city's safer at home orders, we will operate during the weekend as well, to ensure that we have people ready to answer your questions and direct you to resources. And if they can't answer a question on the spot, we try to get back to you within 24 hours. So that phone number is 562-570-4249. Again, please give us a call. This is the easiest and fastest way to get a hold of us. Similarly, we have a website that's available 24/7 for those folks that do have access to the internet and to a computer and can access this website. It's longbeach.gov/4biz. And this website centralizes a variety of resources that I'll be talking about, and some of the other folks on this call will be talking about as well. But some examples include the loan programs, information on unemployment insurance, information on the ever-changing city health orders. So if you need the latest health order and the list of businesses that can operate currently, please visit our website. Information on the temporary ban on evictions for commercial and residential renters, and a lot more. So please also visit our website if you have a chance. Thanks to the leadership of the City Council here in Long Beach, we've established an emergency microloan program that supports businesses and 501c3 nonprofit organizations with 5 employees or less. So it's really meant for very small micro businesses. And the loan amounts range from $2,500 to $10,000. And we're trying to provide some additional financial relief. So if you do get approved for one of these loans, you will not have to make your first loan payment until January 2021. And the interest rate is a fixed interest rate, meaning it won't change over the term of the loan. And that interest rate is 2.44%. There's no personal guarantee required or collateral that's required for this loan. And you can use these loan proceeds on a variety of business needs. So anything from payroll to paying your rent, to covering materials and supplies that you may need, or thinking about improving your website or your digital marketing strategy, which we know is extremely important in this day and age, especially for some of our retailers. We are encouraging folks that are interested in this program to call the Small Business Development Center, Brad Pollak and his team. They are trained to help people navigate the process of submitting this application. And we want to ensure that everyone that submits an application has a fully completed application, and that also they're not overwhelmed in the process. So please call the Small Business Development Center to get some support. Just to give you an example of some of the documents that will be required for this loan program, and also if you're considering getting a loan somewhere else, you'll likely have to provide some of this information as well. Just provide a brief summary. So financial statements such as your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet statements, your latest tax returns are documents that you should get together. Your debt schedule, so a summary of your existing debts, the current balance, how much your monthly payment is right now, for example, a copy of your business license, and a use of funds statement. So start to think through what you need right now and how you might use these funds, because we'll ask you for that information. Just, we know that everyone would prefer a grant right now because grant equals free money. And it's hard to take out a loan, but we wanted to give you an example of what these monthly payment amounts will be. So on the screen here, we have an idea of what it might be for both a 5-year and a 7-year term, and also at the $5,000, $7,000, and $10,000 amounts. So you could see, depending on the term and the loan amount, it could range from $64 a month to as high as $177 per month. So these are the options that are currently available to you. And of course, we're happy to talk these through individually with you. The city also has a great creative loan program. It's called the Kiva loan program. That is the most affordable loan that you can get right now because it's a 0% interest loan and there are no fees associated with this program. Previously, before COVID-19, the maximum loan amount was $10,000, but now it's $15,000. And it's creative in the sense that if you get approved for a loan, you essentially have a loan campaign that goes live on an online platform, and you can crowd fund from people all over the world that can lend you as little as $25, all at 0% interest. If you get approved for a loan, you do not have to make your first loan payment until 6 months after you receive those loan funds. And again, this is flexible capital, so you can use this on a variety of business needs, anything from payroll, rent, utilities, and payments that you might have, outstanding debts. And all loan applications are ultimately approved or denied by Kiva, which is a nonprofit organization. That said, the city does provide wraparound technical assistance, so we'll help you complete your loan application. If you get approved for a loan campaign and it goes live, we will market the heck out of this opportunity to ensure that as many people as possible are aware of it and that you get funded as quickly as possible. To date, we've actually supported 25 businesses that have received well over $200,000, 0% interest loans through this program, and they've been supported by over 2,000 lenders from throughout the world. And just to give you an example of a success story, I believe 2 weeks ago, we had a local business named Getting Caked. This is Shoshana, she's here on the screen, and she was actually in the process of starting her business, and then COVID-19 hit and it kind of threw things off. But she needed some capital to still launch her business and ensure that she has access to the materials and equipment that she needs to develop her product, which is cakes and different breads and other baked goods. But she received a $6,500 0% interest Kiva loan, and was supported by 81 lenders from throughout the world. So I know this is a more creative program and it might take some time to wrap your head around it, but please know that people are receiving 0% interest loans for these programs. So please, again, call us on our business hotline to learn more about this program so that we can get you connected to this opportunity. And as I mentioned earlier, grants, everyone loves grants, and there's a new grant opportunity that's currently available by the Local Initiative Support Corporation, LISC LA, and they have a small business relief grant that provides grants. I think they're either $5,000, $7,500, or $10,000 grants. And this loan application, or grant application, excuse me, is due by May 20th. So tomorrow at 8:59 p.m., this loan application is due. There are a variety of eligibility requirements associated with this opportunity. So we do have a link to the FAQ, or frequently asked questions, here on the PowerPoint, and I will provide this information on the chat box after I'm done speaking. And priority will be given to underserved entrepreneurs. So women entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs of color, veteran-owned entrepreneurs, or businesses that are located in what are known as underserved areas, low to moderate income areas generally. And to apply, there is a link here. But again, the FAQ has access to all of that information, and you can email them if you have any specific questions. This is a lottery-based system, so we're encouraging as many Long Beach businesses to submit a grant application, and with the hopes that they receive this great grant. And we know that a number of other businesses have received some of the grants that have been offered by this organization. I know that many of you know about these federal loan programs, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan and the Paycheck Protection Program. And the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, if you haven't already submitted an application and if you're not in the queue, it's currently only available to agricultural businesses. But if you have already applied and are still waiting to hear back, or if you're an agricultural business that is interested in applying, this loan can provide loans up to $2 million. If you're a for-profit business, that interest rate is 3.75%, and for a nonprofit, it's 2.75%. And they are trying to provide additional financial relief. So they have a pretty long loan term, up to 30 years, which means lower monthly payments for you. And there are a variety of business, eligible business expenses for this loan program as well. And there's this emergency advance option that's available up to $10,000. That's based on the number of full-time employees that you have. So if you have 5 full-time employees, you could be eligible to receive up to a $5,000 emergency advance. And again, to apply or to learn more, we have a link to that website there. And I know the Small Business Development Center has a variety of consultants that can help you navigate this loan application process as well, that I'm sure Brad will talk about soon. The other program that I just mentioned was, or spoke about earlier briefly, was the Paycheck Protection Program, which by and large is focused on helping employers keep workers on payroll. And the loan proceeds can be used for payroll, rent, utilities, and some other uses. But because it's based on payroll, the loan amounts will be determined by 2.5 times your average monthly payroll, and the costs are capped at $100,000 per employee. The great thing about this program is that it has a loan forgiveness option. So if you spend your money, and at least 75% of it must be used on payroll cost, but if you spend it on eligible uses, you can get up to 100% of this loan forgiven. And if for some reason the entire loan amount isn't forgiven, whatever is not forgiven, you have to pay back in a period of 2 years at a 1% interest rate. And you can apply for this program through an existing SBA 7A lender. So if you haven't applied and you're interested, please speak with your bank that you may have a relationship with, or if your bank is not accepting applications, or if you do not have a banking relationship, please contact us. There are still some lenders that are processing these loan applications, and we'd be happy to connect you to them. And I'll leave it at that for now, and then we can talk about some of these other programs later in the webinar. So back to you, Morris. Thank you. And you're on mute, Morris.
Thank you. Yeah, so thanks for covering that, Eric. Let's move on to Lucius here. Lucius, are you with us? Let's see.
Yes, sir, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, all good. All right, so specifically for Pacific Gateway in workforce development, what are any unemployment benefits or work share programs that are available to businesses, and what exactly are those programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the most underutilized program for the state of California Employment Development Department in whole or in general is the state's work share program. So this is very unique to the state of California. Basically, what it is a company can apply. The benefit to the company is instead of laying off, their workforce, a certain percentage of the workforce, they can actually reduce hours down to, I believe it is as low as 40%. And then for the rest of the 60% of the wages for those individuals for each company, for the company, they can actually collect a percentage of their unemployment insurance. So the benefit to the company is they get to maintain the entirety of their workforce, or a portion of it if they decide, depending on how they want to utilize the work share program. Then after things blow over, things pick back up, they don't have to spend all that money trying to source talent or rehire folks or find new talent. It's a huge win for the individual employee because they stay connected to your company. They feel valued by your company, that you didn't want to lose them and lay them off in totality. And then also if they were working full-time or covered by health benefits, they get to maintain those health benefits for themselves and their family if they did have those. So I've actually assisted several local and regional businesses access the workshare program. Due to confidentiality reasons, I can't provide those names to you, but I can tell you that one is as large as 5,000 statewide employees, and they're utilizing the program now. And the other company has less than 1,000 employees here in Long Beach, and they're utilizing the company. And so far, so good. I haven't heard too many complaints about it. The newest thing is if you go to the link that Morris had provided and you go to the State of California EDD Workshare Program, it used to be quite antiquated, where they actually was a paper copy. You had to download something and send it in. As of this week, they just announced that, actually late last week, that you can actually go on and apply online in lieu of having to do the paper copy. So this program is directly run and administered by the Employment Development Department. So we're just really trying to spread the word, and we see this as a viable cost savings options for employers that are looking at having to do layoffs, and something to consider before you go that route. So kind of jumping in to what there is, what Pacific Gateway can offer locally. A lot of DLB participating companies, employers have participated in our programs in the past. Some of you may be more familiar with others. One of the basic services that we offer is typically in a normal world, and we are honestly living in kind of a new normal, but in a normal world, a Long Beach resident gets laid off from their job. Maybe they work up in Silicon Beach for a tech company. They live on the east side, or maybe they have a loft in downtown. State of California EDD is going to require them to go into the CalJobs system, put an application in, put their resume in, and typically they will be invited to come in. And typically they would be invited to come in and to our center. So the local Pacific Gateway Center to Long Beach, the closest one is over at 4811 Airport Plaza. It's near the Long Beach Airport Marriott, and it's branded as the workplace. So this would be the spot where someone in Long Beach who's looking for work would come in. They would be able to access workshops. Now we're moving to a virtual platform. So just today we have simultaneously, we have some different workshops going on for those job seekers to help brush up their skills. So I always encourage folks, before you go out and utilize your applicant tracking systems or contract with the staffing agency or recruiting house, give us a call at Pacific Gateway. Y'all have my email. Shoot me an email. We have a number of folks in our team with the business engagement team, employer engagement team, depending on what industry you're in. If you're professional services, we have someone who's a former corporate recruiter, used to work at Molina Healthcare, who's now on board with us. that help source folks that might be coming from more of a professional background. If hospitality, retail, we have an expert for that. Someone logistics, goods movement. We have someone that's working in construction, and then we work with aerospace, defense, and basically any sector that's going to touch the greater Long Beach area. So, typically we have between 2,000 to 4,000 folks that are kind of connected to our office in some way. Most of them are Long Beach residents looking for opportunities. Obviously, right now, we had heard that unemployment applications in Long Beach are now hovering in the 50,000 range. That means there's a lot of people that are collecting unemployment that are going to be looking for a next opportunity. We know that some of those folks, hopefully most of those folks, are going to return to their most recent employer once things start to improve regionally and nationally. For those that don't return to their employer for whatever reason, we're going to have access to their information, so you can come and plug and play. Send me an email. We'll get going, and I'll add my contact information again to the group chat after this. Some of the other programs that are really hot and really important are wage subsidy programs. So some of y'all may have heard of the on-the-job training program. So if you are a business in Long Beach, as long as you have a business license and you have insurance set up, you can, and if you're willing to hire someone from our pool, so maybe they simply were just dislocated, they've been on the market for a few weeks or a few months, maybe they're from a disadvantaged situation, maybe they had spent time in prison, maybe they're considered homeless. There's a variety of different reasons. You could be eligible for it's a new hire program. Basically, Pacific Gateway, the city of Long Beach, reimburses half of their wages for a set time period. And I should say it could be anywhere from 50% to some of our programs. We have some individuals that are eligible for up to 90% wage reimbursement. So let's say that they're a $30 an hour employee. Let's say that they're a $20 an hour employee. We would come in and reimburse you for $10 an hour for anywhere from 360 to some of our programs go up to 500 hours. You do the training, you train them in whatever proprietary software systems, things that are required for your business or organization, and we provide the subsidy. That's a great program. A lot of folks access that on a yearly basis. Another program that you might have heard about, you're probably more familiar with kind of the summer youth work experience, where we put like local Long Beach youth at work, throughout downtown Long Beach and throughout Long Beach. We have now kind of expanded that, and we're now able to offer it through some grants that we have federally and statewide under what's called kind of adult work experience. So this could be for someone that maybe is trying to test the waters. We have someone right now, I can't get into the specifics, but they had just completed HR training and kind of transitioning into the HR world, and we're able to offer them some adult WEX at a local hospital, and then that may lead into an on-the-job training. So it's a win-win. It's opportunities to plug in. If you need just some like part-time staff, the adult or youth work experience programs are really great, and that's another resource that we have at Pacific Gateway. We're constantly writing grants, trying to bring in money and revenue to just reimburse and get that money out into the community. But we're always looking for company and employer partners that are willing to host these folks. There's no cost to participate with a lot of these programs. It's just the cost of the supervision of that individual. So I'm happy to talk more in depth. Feel free to email me or call me, and we can talk more about those programs.
Great. Yep. So thanks, Eric, for posting the phone number. And then I can go back as well to the contact info for Lucius's email. But yeah, if you would agree that the best place to start is really give them a call, both Economic Development Department of the city and Pacific Gateway, just because, things are changing so quickly. It's nice to, speak to someone over the phone. So similarly, I'll move on to Brad. So how can a business access any advisory services in Long Beach? And I know Eric mentioned as well that a starting point for a lot of these financial resources involve the SBDC and creating an appointment. So if I was a business, how would I access any kind of these advisory services?
Just as a quick reminder, what the SBDC is sometimes it gets a little bit confusing to people, and unnecessarily so, because it's a silly acronym, SBDC, but Small Business Development Center. When you think of the Small Business Development Center, just think of a group of paid experts that are business advisors who offer information, education, and guidance in most of the fundamentals of running a business. That is the reality of what we do. We are offering information, guidance, and education on the fundamentals of running a business, starting a small business or growing your small business. And the best way to reach us is to call us. And I'll put the number in the chat, or to reach us on our website and register with us. The registration process is super simple. Even I understand it, so I can tell you that it's simple. It's very easy to do. It's free to sign up. You become a client. And what happens is this: once you register with us, once you sign up with us, you are then contacted by us, and we talk with you, and we get a sense of what your situation is and determine what your needs are. And that helps us determine which advisor is best suited for you at this particular moment. So for example, let's suppose you are applying for the Long Beach microloan, and you are trying to figure out how to kind of put all the paperwork together for the application so that it can then be submitted to Long Beach. Once you contact us and you tell us that this is what you'd like to do, we connect you with an advisor who will work with you, obviously virtually at this point. In a non-COVID world, you could come in and meet with us in person and so on and so forth, but for now it's all virtual. We walk you through all the different things that you need to have in order to submit the application, and then you submit the application, and generally speaking, it's a pretty seamless thing from there. Conversely, you might have a need to just up your whole marketing strategy. Maybe you've really not paid much attention to how you're marketing your business because you didn't necessarily need to focus on it so much, and now that's obviously changed. You need help with marketing strategizing, so you would be connected with an advisor who is a good marketing strategist. Maybe you have a scenario where you're trying to figure out how to expand your services into e-commerce. You would then be connected with an e-commerce advisor. So the process is pretty straightforward. You sign up with us, then you have a conversation with us, and then we determine which advisor is best suited for you. In some cases, by the way, with some of the more complex scenarios that we face with our clients, we have collaborative advising. So normally it's just one-on-one advising where you're working with an advisor in a one-on-one situation. But we've now, especially in terms of what's happening with COVID, we have a lot of collaborative advising because there are no correct answers. There's no absolute with any of this stuff that's happening in COVID. There's no categorical about PPP. There's no categorical about EIDL. There's no categorical about how to adapt. This is an incredibly interesting time we find ourselves in. So we have groups of advisors, 2, 3, 4 sometimes advisors that will meet with you on a collaborative basis to help you try and resolve whatever the issue is. Lately, especially during COVID, we've been very, very focused on the advising side of things with talking about the loan programs that Eric Romero was talking about, the PPP, the EIDL, and some other things, and just sort of understanding how to kind of apply, what information is needed to apply, and so on and so forth. We've also been having a lot of conversations with small businesses about how to adapt. This is a big, big, big one for all the obvious reasons. How are we adapting? And it's an incredibly open-ended conversation because there is no absolute right answer, but we're a very creative group of people, and I'm finding that the majority of the businesses that we're helping are also very creative. They just need to have the opportunity to brainstorm and work with people who are objective, who can give you feedback that will be helpful to you. So there's a ton of that going on. Forecasting how much money you need to have in the kitty, as it were, to get through this pandemic is also a big, big topic of conversation, which requires pretty in-depth analysis of your cash flow, of your balance sheet, of your profit and loss, all of those things, which sometimes can be overwhelming to small businesses. So we help simplify that whole language. Lots of small businesses we're finding are a little bit freaked out by the whole notion of how to handle anything that has to do with balance sheets, and it doesn't need to be overwhelming by any stretch of the imagination. So we do a lot of conversations with small businesses about that. And then, a huge focus on marketing strategizing. So to get in touch with us, like I said, I'll put in the chat what the phone number is and what the what the registration is to sign up online. I actually think because of the volume, it's easier to just sign up with us online. You will be contacted within 24 hours and assigned an advisor. So it's not like you sign up online and then you don't hear from us for the next 5 years. That's not it. It's within 24 hours or so you'll hear back from us, and then we'll get you going with an advisor who will help in any way that he or she can. So, did I answer all those questions, Morris? What benefit?
I mean, this might be rhetorical, but will these personalized advising services continue whenever this pandemic subsides, or we readjust?
Oh yeah, I mean, the SBDC has been around since the early 1970s. And will be here for many, many years to come. It's a great service that I realize not many people know about, but well, actually more people do know about it now than before. But absolutely, we're here for the long haul. And the reason the advisors that we have, the reason that they do what they do is they're for the most part small business owners themselves, and they just love to help in any way that they can. So we're going to be around for a long time.
Great.
I hope that at some point during that long run, I will get a haircut, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen.
I think we're all thinking the same thing.
It's getting bad. It's bad, yeah. Morris.
But I believe we're going to have your colleague, Carrie Armstrong, speaking with us Friday. So she's great, and she'll be speaking about what you just talked about a little in terms of how small businesses particularly going to change their strategy, or just, the concept going forward if you want to be an entrepreneur or have some similar micro enterprise. So,
yeah, Carrie's great. Carrie's dynamic. Carrie's very creative. This is a really, really interesting time for all of us. We have to be thinking outside the box, to be, sorry to be cliche, but we really do. Mm-hmm. We have to be thinking outside the box. However, we have to think outside the box and understand the financial realities of what it means to think outside the box. Can I follow this path? Can I follow that path? What's it going to cost? Do I have the cash flow? So it's not just a pie in the sky kind of conversation. It's a nuts and bolts conversation, but it's got energy and creativity. So Carrie's going to be great on that call because she's got all of those qualities.
Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, I posted the new client registration link in the chat, as well as the that 866 number.
Thanks, Morris.
Yeah. So, in terms of Eric briefly covered this, but what information should businesses be preparing in order to expedite the assistance process? What should I have ready to go as a business so that when I call one of you guys, I can really get moving right out of the gate?
Okay, so the fastest way is to sign up with us, and then call us and tell us what your situation is, and then in that conversation we will advise you as to what you should have prepared, so that when you're talking with an advisor, you'll be able to hit the ground running. So there's no one size fits all in terms of what you need to have. So the best thing is just get to us, talk with the person that you're going to be talking with is a business client supervisor. His name is Dan Rosenfeld. And Dan is the sort of the air traffic controller who assesses your needs. And then Dan will tell you, all right, you're going to meet with our advisor, Carrie Armstrong. And because you have a question about leases, what we'd like you to do is send us a copy of your lease, so that Carrie has a chance to look at it before you talk with her, and we'll be ready to hit the ground running. Or, if it's a sort of thing where I'm applying for a loan, then Dan will say, all right, to be ready to apply for the loan you're going to need, and then he'll list whatever the documents are, whatever the requirements are that either Eric or Seyed have provided us. So the short answer then is you don't worry about having to pull all this stuff together before you even contact us. Contact us, talk with Dan, and then Dan will tell you what's needed for your first session.
Yeah. Eric, did you have anything you wanted to add, or?
I think Brad did a great job covering that question.
Great. And then similar to that, these past few months, it's been a learning experience for everyone involved, but are there any common roadblocks or delays that you guys have observed businesses experiencing in this process, both in outreach or any kind of a general assistance?
I have one I'd like to start with. So as we all know, Long Beach is a very diverse community, and we have all kinds of different racial and ethnic groups, but we have a large undocumented population. So, and many of them are also very entrepreneurial and are running small businesses. And one of the challenges that we've run into is that some of these undocumented small business owners cannot benefit from some of these federal loan programs, such as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or the Paycheck Protection Program, or even our own city emergency microloan, because it's funded with federal funds. However, the program that I did speak about earlier, Kiva, that program does not require a social security number. So we're really trying to get folks access to information about this program so that they can benefit from this loan program if they need access to capital, which many small businesses do. But we've noticed that there are a number of barriers that some of our undocumented entrepreneurs are facing. And so we're continuing to look for other opportunities to assist them as best as we can. I would also say that, non-English speaking populations where English isn't their primary language, they have had a harder time accessing some of our resources. Fortunately, we do have some city employees that can speak a variety of different languages, and I believe the Small Business Development Center has a number of consultants that can speak a variety of languages as well. But we certainly are also counting on all the folks that are on this call. If you know someone that couldn't make it to this webinar or that needs access to this important information, we would highly encourage you to please spread the word about these different resources that we are talking about today.
Yeah, I would echo what Eric is saying. Language can be a barrier. At the SBDC, we have several advisors that speak Spanish. Well, let me back up for a second. There are, in the LA region, there are 8 SBDCs. In the Orange County Inland Empire region, there are 8 or 9 SBDCs. And we all work together. We help each other out. So for example, if we have a need for an advisor who speaks a language that none of our advisors speak, we'll connect the client with an advisor at some other SBDC who can help. But language is a problem for sure. And I think also for a lot of businesses, the concept of having to pull together paperwork, financial statements, anything along those lines can be daunting, and we don't want it to be daunting. We want everybody to understand it. We'll help you. We'll educate you. We'll inform you. We'll do what we can to help you pull these things together. It's not as overwhelming as you might think, but I think that's a roadblock. To answer your question, Morris, it's a roadblock, and people think unnecessarily so that they're not going to be able to provide all the stuff that we need. So, hey, I'm not even going to bother calling for help, whether it's, asking for help from Lucius or from Eric, or, it's just that. So I wish there were a way I could, get the word out to the community at large that, just don't worry about that. We'll help you with that. And be able to say that in Spanish, be able to say that in Khmer, being able to say that in Korean, being able to say that in any number of languages that make up the melting pot of Los Angeles County.
It's awesome. And just to add to that, I think often I'm not a small business owner or an entrepreneur, but I've spoken with enough of them to know that it can often feel like a lonely endeavor. And I think a lot of folks often do feel like they have to do it all alone. But the message we're trying to push out there is that you are not alone. Do not try to do this alone. There are a variety of resources that are available here for you. So please plug into those resources, call our numbers, visit our websites, share this information with folks so that folks know that there is a support network out there. And really, we're trying to fill the different gaps so that people aren't falling through the different gaps that exist. So we're trying to create a bit of a safety net to capture folks that are struggling right now and ensuring that they get plugged into these resources.
Awesome. So we have just about 10 minutes left. If there are any other updates that you guys want to provide, you did cover a lot. I just want to move on to question and answer from our participants. If anyone has a specific question that you'd like to ask these guys, please mention it in the chat box and we'll get it answered. So yeah.
If I could just briefly touch on the Great Plates program and get
Yeah.
my presentation, or if you want to pull it up on yours to make it here.
Let's see if I can.
And I'll start talking about it. So the state of California, and in partnership with the federal government and also Long Beach, has launched a new program called the Great Plates Delivered program. You can see it here on your screen. That will assist both seniors that are in need, trying to protect them so that they don't have to go out and put themselves at risk, and also support restaurants, the local restaurant industry that we know is hard hit right now. So the city currently is accepting RFPs or proposals from restaurants, local restaurants, and other food providers that are interested in participating in this program. If they are accepted into this program, and a few local restaurants will be accepted into it, they will get the opportunity to provide 3 nutritious meals a day to seniors throughout the city of Long Beach. And it'll be a great way for you to not only get some additional revenue, but to maybe bring some of your employees back and get some much needed support. So there is a link to the RFP in this presentation. If you aren't currently registered to be a vendor with the city of Long Beach, you can register, and we encourage you to register to not only become a vendor with the city, but also some large local institutions such as the Community College and Cal State Long Beach. But this is a great program that's currently available. And again, if you want more information, please call our business hotline. That again is 562-570-4249. And the RFP does close this Thursday, so there's a quick turnaround. But don't hesitate to contact us if you want to learn more about this program and how you may be able to participate in it.
Awesome. Okay. So, have not received questions here yet, but Brad, I know you guys were doing technical assistance training specifically at the SBDC. If you wanted to elaborate that just a little more, because I know that moving to the online space is daunting for a lot of people, especially if you're traditional business. So maybe similar to this, if there's any kind of workshops or assistance training.
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of webinars now, like everybody else. And I will put in the chat a link to our calendar that has a listing of all of the webinars. But just to give you an idea, the webinars include, like for example, we're in the middle of a series that's a marketing series. It's a Instagram, how to sell on Instagram, and it's a five webinar series. We're going to in a couple of weeks do a webinar on how to pivot your business. And because pivoting is as I was mentioning before, is a term that's being used a lot, which is very appropriate. Pivoting, adapting, whatever the term is. How do I even think through this notion of pivoting? So we're going to do a webinar on that. We're going to do a webinar on legal entities. A lot of people have questions about everything from sole proprietorship to S corps to the whole 9 yards, things like that. We're going to be offering just a ton of informative webinars that all tie into the big picture of how do I survive and how do I adapt. And I think rather than go into all of them, I'll put a link. I'll look it up right now, and then I'll put it in the chat right now, Morris, to go to our webinars. And it's really, all the webinars are free, of course. It's easy to sign on. They generally last around 75 minutes or so, something along those lines. We're doing, everything just like everybody else. We're trying to navigate the best way to do the Q&A and the interaction with folks. It's sort of an interesting process that we're all going through,
Yeah.
But I'll put that in the chat right now. Let me just look
Okay.
it up.
I think I actually just posted the workshops, the Small Biz LA.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one. Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's a lot of those. I have a question here. If I have an existing loan with the city, am I still eligible for the new micro assistance loan?
Yes, you still are able to apply for this loan program. So please consider applying. And the city is also in the process of trying to secure additional funds to continue this program, but also thinking about the types of loan products that may be needed after things have started to slow down or we transition into more of a recovery mode. So again, please contact us to learn more about this. I believe if you're an existing borrower with the City of Long Beach, we should have already contacted you to educate you about this microloan opportunity. But if you haven't heard about it, please contact us and we'll get you plugged into this opportunity.
Awesome. All right. Well, if no one has any more questions, as I said, I did post at the beginning of the chat at the top a link, a PDF, which has pretty much all of the links that have been posted as well throughout this. So it's all coalesced into one place. So yeah, the WorkShare program, more information on any of the loans and grants that Eric mentioned, and then the phone numbers and websites as well for each of these respective organizations. So I can't thank you guys enough. We'll all be here the same time next week on Tuesday, going over this information and any possible changes. But yeah, as this whole situation progresses, there's going to be some new updates, hopefully, in terms of assistance. And yeah, we're all experiencing it at the same time. So just to give you a little announcement for our next webinar, it'll be this Friday. At the same time, same Zoom link that you all received. And whereas this is more of a specific, assistance training, the roundtable discussion is going to be much more discussion based. And it's going to be covering kind of a higher level topic between speakers such as Carrie Armstrong, Brad's colleague at the SBDC. And this Friday, we're going to be covering perspectives on reopening small businesses. So going into how strategies might change, how the culture of small business itself may change, and drawing any kind of comparisons or contrasts to past crisis situations. So that's going to be a pretty interesting topic. And again, if you want to get some more info on that, please visit our website, downtownlongbeach.org. Under investor resources, you'll see a link to the webinar registration as well as more descriptions. So yeah, I want to thank Lucius and Eric and Brad for participating with us today. Yeah, it is very informative, and hopefully next week we'll have the same thing. So with that, I'm going to end the meeting, and I'll email out as well this PDF with links to all the participants. So yeah, thanks guys so much.